Hello everyone, welcome to a very special edition of Art Whisperer 88. On your screen you will see my two large format plates, and by combining the two to form one piece, I have created a printing area of 31 wide by 20 tall. So it's 20 by 31, which is probably the largest printing area for a gel plate ever. So I'm excited to try this, and I have somewhat of a plan in my mind to create a composition to take advantage of this very large area, and I'm going to approach this as if I were doing a painting on canvas. So just like with a painting, I'm going to start with a primer coat, and then keep layering, possibly adding some collage elements and alternating them. So it's an exciting journey, and I hope you will join me for the ride. So again, I want to give all my wonderful viewers and subscribers a big thank you, and I hope you'll stick with me and have some fun. So I'll be right back. Now, as in my other projects, I usually will show you the very rough layout or plan for this composition. And so what I plan to do is have a very large object here on the right side, and then a smaller object here, and then not halfway, but maybe about 1/3 will be another area, probably another color. So then maybe a dividing line like so. So that's the general map of the composition. So I'm going to go ahead and use these three colors. This is Basics by, I think it's, it's Liquitex. It's Liquitex Basics. This is their budget brand. And then this is Lukas. This is beige. It's kind of like parchment. And then for an accent color, I have Cadmium Red by Lukas. So I'm going to go ahead and start inking the plate. Now, as you can see, I've done away with the usual registration pieces. I only have the registration on top. Let me show you. Instead of having them on the sides, I just have it on top, and then I mark the center line. Also, maybe you will notice that my printing table is a little cleaner. I got rid of all these confusing lines which I had been using to mark out the edges of the paper and the edges of the plate and so on, and it gets very confusing on the camera. So I decided to clean everything off so it's very simple and easy to understand. So I have these two large format gel plates. I set them here in the middle. I have a middle center line here. I marked a center line on my wooden molding, which is the registration bar, and in order for me to center, I had made a tick mark on this paper. This is Arnhem, and I'm going to make sure that the tick mark corresponds to the center line on the registration bar. Now, I usually don't like taping my paper, but in this case, since it's an unusual shape, I put some masking tape on both sides of the edge. So I will have a white border on the top, on the bottom, and on the left, and on the right. And you will see as I start printing that it makes sense to have these borders just to contain the artwork, because there's a little overshot here for the plate. The plate is a little bigger than the paper, so I have to kind of tidy things up with a border. So anyways, that's my explanation of how this is going to work. So let me go ahead and start inking the plate. So I'll be right back. Okay, back from a short break. I am going to start inking the plates. That section here will be cadmium red. Okay, I'm going to start with that. And in the final print, this red part will be on the right side. Then I have some raw sienna. That's very wet. So I'm going to start with the raw sienna, actually. It's very wet. I may have to redo this because it's I mistakenly mixed it with too much water, but the effects might be interesting. Then here is beige. So let me just see how this goes. So I'm aiming for a very painterly look, since this is actually a painting size. And hopefully the seam that you see in the middle is not going to be too obvious. Going to switch sprayers. Just to keep this cadmium red in its pure form. Okay, now very quickly I will try to introduce some scribbles as usual. Okay, so since this is quite a big piece, I think I can't delay too much. I have to move fairly quickly. And as you can see, the plate is slightly larger than the paper, so that's where the tape comes in to create a white border. Now this is my first time to do this with a double plate, so it's pretty exciting. And I thought it would be appropriate to do this on my milestone of 2,000 subscribers, which I never dreamed I would even achieve, thanks to you and your kind comments and your viewership. I'm going to concentrate especially here on the seams so that it won't appear that it's two separate pieces. I mean, I'm sure that there'll be a seam, but hopefully it won't be too obvious, and this would be perceived as one piece rather than two. Okay, so here goes. It is very painterly. I don't even see the seam at all. I love the red, so vibrant. There we go. For a first pull, I'm very thrilled with this. So anyways, let me air dry this, and then I will proceed to the next step. so don't go away. Okay, so now I've come to the second portion. As you can see, this has dried very nicely, and the paper actually has dried nice and smooth. It's very flat. There aren't any ripples. So what I'd like to do is introduce some sweeping gestures with my fat marker. I'm just going to introduce some sweeping lines, kind of in keeping with the energy of this scribble here. So I'm going to go in this circular motion. Okay, that introduces some texture and some movement. And then I have some of these collage pieces which I want to use. Okay. Like so. So I'm going to go ahead and mount these. The nice thing about the permanent marker is it doesn't smear. Once I start using the Mod Podge on top of it, it stays clean and it doesn't bleed. So there's my piece of a QR code. Okay, this is giving me a little problem. I laid this down too quickly. Yeah, that's much better. Sometimes when the paper gets wet, it starts to ripple or wrinkle very quickly, and you have to mount it slowly. And this one, this little piece of text goes here. Then this larger area here, this is my copy paper scribble. And like I've mentioned before, the Mod Podge dry is invisible. So I can do this, I can get away with doing this. My table is way too small to have a separate area where I can apply glue. So I can just do it on the artwork itself safely. Okay, that's it for the large piece. Now I did cut some tissue paper, and since it's a larger piece here, I'm going to be very careful. Because it's tricky to mount a large piece of tissue without it breaking. There we go. So that is it for the collage portion. So I'm going to go ahead and let this collage dry for about half an hour, and then I'll come back and start playing around with my stencils. So I'll be back in a few minutes. Hang tight. Okay, I'm back. Not after a few minutes, actually. I had to spend quite some time arranging these stencils and deciding which color goes on top. You would say it's like making an arrangement for an orchestra. I'm not a musician, but I think there's a parallel when you have to figure out the colors and the layout of a piece of artwork. It's like arranging music for an orchestra. So anyways, as you can see, this is fairly ambitious. It's a large piece and it has a lot of components. So I have used an assortment of circles and squares and ovals, and I'm going to assign, this is a graphite to go over the red, and then this is bronze yellow, or this is like a raw sienna, and then I have ivory black, which goes on this column. And this is beige for this area here. So there are 4 columns of color, and each color gives what's underneath a lot of contrast. I'm hoping that that's the effect that will happen. So I'm going to go ahead. I will start with the lightest color, which is beige, and then work my way from right to left. And hopefully my stencils are going to behave. And since a lot of the area is covered by stencils, I don't think I need to put that much paint. I think the strongest color here will be black. And then this is graphite, which I hope will contrast nicely with the red underneath. Okay. Just going to put these out of the way and start with the light colors. Now this beige is a little bit watery because probably I had diluted this in the past for some other project. But that's okay because it does produce some kind of a mesh texture. Kind of like a net of some kind. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and start blending it to the ochre, which is a bit thicker. And then blending into black. Now the black seems to be the thickest paint. And then finally the graphite, which is like a metallic, like a pewter color. Okay. So the stencils go directly into my soaking pan. and hopefully the paint is going to stay wet so I can get a good transfer. I'm confident that they will stay wet because they seem to be on the watery side. And I can see up close with the reflection of the light, overhead light, that there is quite a bit of texture on this paint surface, which I hope will add to the effect. It's quite a bit of stencil. I actually didn't count. I was more concerned that they fall where I want them to. Okay, I think I got them all. Let me just make sure my hands are clean. And just to refresh your memory, here is the print. Okay, it's beige on my left and red on my right. And this is where the tick mark comes in handy. And hopefully the seam, which is in the middle, is not going to be so obvious. So this will be perceived as one artwork instead of two that were joined together. Okay, I'm gonna run over and soak my stencils, and I will be back in a few minutes. Okay, we have come to the most exciting part of this video. Let's see what we got here. I like the texture of the white or the beige. And I think the black gives a very nice contrast. Okay. I think this is pretty cool. don't you think? I'm not going to lay it down on the plate because I want to keep the back of this print clean. So I will air dry this guy and then decide what the next step is going to be. So back in a few minutes. Okay, everyone, back after a short break to air dry this piece and at the same time to clean my plate which is underneath. It's always best to do the cleaning immediately so the paint comes off right away rather than wait and then have to scrub. So here is the final print. I think that it can stand alone without any more additions, which is surprising because I usually can't leave well enough alone. I always want to add more and more and more, but it's actually I would call it an art to know when to stop. So I think I will have a better idea of the final appearance of the print when I take off the tape. See, what I don't like about taping is the tape, even if it's supposed to be a special low tack tape, it does take off the first layer of paper, but I guess it can't be helped. But I think the white border gives it a nice clean look. Oops. There. What do you think? I think it looks pretty cool. And it's not noticeable that it's two plates that were put together. Here's a close-up. I do like the heavy texture created by the brayer, and then the texture here on this left side is a combination of the watered down paint and the brayer. And the scribbles, they create this sense of a spatial feeling that something is in the front and then something that is in the back. Okay. I think this piece will look nice when it's framed. It will give it that formal look. Okay, so this is my experiment with two large format plates put together, and I'm quite happy with the result. I had never attempted something of this size before, especially for a gel plate, and it's doable. I'm glad that it's doable, and provided that you work quickly enough so the paint doesn't dry in transit. And again, thank you so much for watching and subscribing and helping me and my channel to reach this point, my 2000th subscriber milestone. So I hope to see you next time.